It's time to cook with Susan Beck, and today we are going to make meat lovers lasagna. And I can't believe in the 7 years I've had a YouTube cooking channel, I've never made this. Right on the card, I say best lasagna recipe ever, and it is. Oh, I'm so excited to make this for you today. It's called meat lovers lasagna because there are 3 different kinds of meat in it. We've got andouille sausage, which is spicy. Use a Polish kielbasa if you don't like things quite as spicy as that might be. We've got some pepperoni slices we're going to put in there and some Italian sausage. Again, spice isn't your thing, just use ground pork. I just love it because of the great flavors that come from those meats. But you could also call this a cheese lovers lasagna because we're going to use some ricotta, some mozzarella, and from our local cheese store, we've got some smoked provolone. Perfect. Now, we're going to put this together with some other ingredients, so let's take a look at those. In addition to the cheeses and the meats we're using, I love to use fire roasted diced tomatoes. I'm also going to use a can of just regular tomatoes. The recipe calls for a mixture. You really can make that any mixture you would like. And then to thicken it a little bit, we're going to use a can of tomato paste. On the other side of my counter, I have some basil, some crushed red pepper, oregano, thyme, garlic, and onions. Now you can use fresh or dried of any of these spices. And we need some lasagna noodles. This andouille sausage comes in a 12-ounce package, so that is how much I'm going to use. If I can pop it out of the packaging here, let's cut that open a little bit more. There we go. Now, when I cut these, whether it's for this or I use like the Polish kielbasa and things in scalloped potatoes, I really like to cut them in half and get just a little bit smaller pieces. So I could cut it like this and just get that great big round, or by cutting it in half, I get 2 little semicircles instead. And I don't know, I guess I just think it's easier to eat, plus it scatters across my entire lasagna, or it's layered through my scalloped potatoes a little bit more. So we're just going to slice all of this up, and we are going to put it into a skillet and brown it a bit. We'll be browning that Italian sausage as well. Putting that sausage into the pan. This is some that my husband ground a great big pork butt and added the seasonings himself. But you can buy this at the grocery store as well. And then we're also going to add in that andouille sausage, and let's move this over to the heat where we can brown these things up. And while it is browning, we'll cut the pepperoni. This meat chopper is great for breaking up any ground meat. While those 2 kinds of sausage are simmering away back there, I am going to take these pepperoni slices and cut them into fourths. I just think that these were great big ones, and again, I got to cut through that, and it's just so much easier to eat if it's already in some bite-sized pieces. And then I'm going to want to get those broken apart so they're not all stuck together. Our 2 kinds of sausage are looking great. Everything's browning up nicely. I want to use the same pan to make my tomato sauce, so I'm just going to move all the meat into another container for right now. I love this stainless steel skillet made by Cuisinart. It's a 14-inch one. It comes with a lid, and it just cleans up so well. All right, in go all my sausages. Set that back over here to use in a minute, and we'll put all the pepperoni in there. I still got some that are kind of stuck together here. I'm gonna get those separated. I don't want one great big bite of pepperoni and no other sausages in my taste. So we'll be layering that in just a few minutes, but now it's time to make our tomato sauce. We're gonna make this from scratch today, but you know, it's perfectly fine to go to the store and buy your favorite brand of spaghetti sauce. Just have a little prep work for our sauce. That is to cut our onion up. Now this is a fairly small onion here today, so I'm actually going to cut 2 of these. I dice these into small pieces, so I'll get rid of the ends that I don't want and that papery outside. we're going to saute the onion in a little bit of olive oil, and then we'll be adding our tomatoes and spices. Now, if you're using fresh spices, we're not going to add those immediately. We will add those closer to the end of our simmering time on our sauce. So I'm going to go ahead and cut up my basil. Again, oregano and thyme are going into this, and using fresh would be fine as well. I'll cut the rest of that onion in a second. So my basil comes on this stalk. I don't really want that big, like sturdy stem. So I'm going to pick off all my leaves that are more tender. And then I'm going to roll them together. Okay? There's like a little flower part kind of coming on the top of that. I don't want that either. So I just kind of roll them up in a ball, and I take my knife, oops, got onion peel there, and I cut some ribbons with that. So I've got those rolled up, and then I just cut little ribbons. A little bit big stem there, but I've just got these nice little pieces now of basil. The heat is on medium. I'm just going to add a tablespoon or two of olive oil so that we can saute our onions. Those onions look great. We've got some browning going on, but when I add these tomatoes, the juice will sizzle and deglaze all that and just lift it right off of the pan. We don't want to lose any of those good flavors. All right, that was can number one of those fire roasted tomatoes, and you can see there's a little charring on the edges of those tomatoes, which I think make them super delicious. You can roast your own tomatoes in the oven and do the same thing. All right, then you could keep using more fire roasted tomatoes. Today I have a can. I've got half fire roasted, half just plain old tomatoes also going in. Now my change to this recipe is that I have added a can of tomato paste. Now notice, paste won't dump out, it's thicker. And that's what I've found, is this just needs to be a little thicker than it is without the paste. I mean, I guess one solution would be to drain the tomatoes, but I like this quantity of sauce. So I'm going to keep all the liquid with my diced tomatoes and then add in a 12 ounce, and you could go anywhere from like an 8 to 14 ounce or 10 ounce can. It's kind of up to you on how thick you want it to be, but I am going to use this entire can today. And that'll just help to thicken it up. I do this also when I make salsa. I make my salsa with just my fresh tomatoes from the garden, with the exception of the paste. The paste I buy at the store and add in because I just feel like it doesn't quite get thick enough for canning. Now you can see already how that's just thicker. You want to let this simmer for a while, and if you're using dried spices, we're going to add those right now. I've got a teaspoon of thyme. Oh, my favorite, Time to Cook with Susan Beck. You know, be sure to subscribe to that channel too. And we've got some oregano. And then we're going to put in, I'm only going to do a quarter. That was a teaspoon of each of those. I'm only going to do a quarter on the red pepper because we've got quite a bit of heat already going on in this with our spicy sausage. I love garlic. And when I have garlic cloves in my garden, I use those instead. But today I have some minced garlic, and the recipe calls for 2 to 3 cloves of minced garlic. So I'm just going to assume each clove is a teaspoon, and I'm putting 3 teaspoons in. If I had been using fresh garlic, I probably would have thrown that in with my onion, or towards the end of my onion cooking time, just to cook it down a little. It wouldn't matter though. Order isn't that big a thing. Now, I like this to simmer. That was on medium heat to kind of get it going, but I'm going to turn it down to low now. Feel free to put a lid on it too, especially if you're getting some bubbling and popping. And once this heats more, I might even turn it down to a simmer. Now, my basil is still on my tray. Being a fresh herb, I just don't feel like it needs to be cooked for quite as long. So we'll toss that in at the end of our cooking time. Let's start with just a taste of this smoked provolone. I mean, I can even smell the fact that it's been smoked. I don't know. Smoking things and roasting things in the oven just give them a very different flavor. And I really enjoy this smoked provolone in my lasagna. If you can't find it or prefer to just have regular provolone, that is just fine. You could also use entirely mozzarella cheese in this. It really wouldn't make any difference. This recipe calls for 16 slices of provolone, but I have a block. And it's really hard, in my opinion, to cut this into slices compared to how easily it is to just grate it. So I am just going to grate a good maybe cup and a half of the provolone. I've got about a cup to a cup and a half of the mozzarella. It's entirely up to you how much cheese you use, but here in the dairy state, we love our cheese. I am using ricotta today. Many people like to use cottage cheese in their lasagna. Either one is perfectly fine. Look at this marinara sauce. It's been simmering for maybe, close to 10 minutes. It doesn't have to simmer very long because it's going to keep cooking when we put it into the oven. I have been stirring it now and then, though. Don't want it to stick to the bottom of my pan, and I did move it down to the simmer setting on my oven burner. All right, here's that fresh basil. I'm just going to stir that in, and I'm going to turn off the heat. This recipe is perfect for a 9 by 13 pan, and I'm going to use this wonderful Pampered Chef pan I was given for Christmas that I had put on my list. I just love the base of it. It's a lot like a pizza stone, and things don't stick to it quite as much. And it comes with a great lid as well, because we're going to cook this partly with the lid on and then uncover it towards the end of our baking time. Now I do, even though I said it has good non-sticking properties, I am still going to put some of this sauce on the bottom of the pan. There's a second reason for that. Have you noticed that I have not been heating a pan of water for my noodles? I am actually going to make this lasagna without boiling the lasagna noodles. So that is kind of a nice feature of this recipe, in that I don't have to spend the time boiling that. I don't have another pan to use and so forth. This pan, I've got room for just a little bit more on the end here of noodles. So I'm going to break those up a little bit. So I've got sauce and one layer of noodles. All right, onto there, I'm going to put some meat mixture. Order doesn't really matter. I want to be sure I'm getting some pepperoni sausage and andouille everywhere. And then we're going to put on some ricotta cheese. There's my little spatula here. And then comes the provolone cheese, which, because that is shredded, it will go on nice and easily, just sprinkled around. If you had slices, just layer it completely so that there's a slice of provolone covering all of the meat and ricotta. Oops, that's my mozzarella. All right, half of my provolone on this layer. And then we're just going to repeat that again. All right, so sauce. Oh, we got a nice, good, thick sauce. That addition of a can of tomato paste just makes all the difference. Now we're ready to start over again. We're going to put the rest of our meat on. Again, remember, this was called Meat Lovers Lasagna. It gets its name for a reason. Probably I usually put a layer of noodles before that meat. But as I said, it really makes absolutely no difference what order these things go in, as long as you're getting some layers of noodles here and there. All right, ricotta cheese needs to go on again. Use up the rest of it on this layer. I like to spread that around a bit. So a little spatula is handy for that. Let's add the rest of our provolone. Pick up my pan this time, I think, and put the rest of our sauce on. Spread that out. I've added one more layer of noodles to the top. Now that mozzarella is going to go on. Ooh, you know what? I don't think a cup's enough. Let me grab a little more. There we go. Lots of meat, lots of cheese. We're ready to put this into the oven. We're going to bake it for 45 minutes with a cover on top. And then we'll remove that cover and bake for 15 more minutes. I just removed the lid from my lasagna. We're going to let it cook for 15 more minutes with the lid off. Now remember, we baked this covered for 45 minutes, and then we removed the cover and baked it for 15 more. If you don't have a cover, a piece of tin foil works just fine. The purpose of covering it is we don't want it to get brown on the top too fast. We've got some nice golden brown now, but we want to keep it at that golden brown phase. Now here's another really important thing. I've let this sit for 15 minutes. It will retain its heat just fine. You don't have to worry about it getting cold on you. But what having it sit does is it helps to keep it from running. It lets that sauce that we made, that we did thicken with tomato sauce, still set up a bit. So when we take this out, our layers should stay together really nicely. I have a nice serrated knife here, which I think works pretty well. Probably should go around the edges there a little bit. We'll see how well I do getting this out. First piece is always the hardest. I say the same thing when I'm cutting pie. Ooh, that turned out quite nicely. And the steam is rising. Oh, just look at those layers. You've got cheese and meat and noodles and oh, I can't wait to dig in. I think I'm going to have to let it cool a little longer on my plate before I can eat it though. I'm serving this tonight with a little asparagus and some garlic toast. And oh, I am ready to try this. Oh, that sauce is fantastic. And all those different meats. I mean, there's a reason they call this meat lovers lasagna. This is one of my absolute favorite pasta dishes. Give it a try and check out some of my other recipes at Time to Cook with Susan Beck.